Very glad to be here in Japan. So the name of our presentation is A Mother and Daughter's Journey into the Depths of Schizophrenia. I'd like to take a few minutes to explain what the depths of schizophrenia look like. I don't know. Okay. So the depths of schizophrenia, Michelle got schizophrenia when she was 12 years old, which is pretty young. Typically you see the disease coming on late teens, early 20s, high school and early college. So, and Michelle had acute onset. So at 12 years old she came home and she had command hallucinations very strongly, and she had cut her wrists. So it just started, one day she was fine, the next day she wasn't. So our journey into the depths of schizophrenia started that day, although her diagnosis did not come for another 2 years, because it's very difficult to get a diagnosis, especially on a child. Nobody wants to make that diagnosis, and it's very difficult to find a child physician. We live in the United States, and we live in the state of Wisconsin, which is 47th out of 50 ranked for the worst mental health care services. So it's very poor, and then we also live very rural, so it's even worse to find someone. There is a child psychiatrist now, and there's a 2-year waiting list to see him, so it's difficult to find services. So unfortunately we went through a lot of different things. Michelle had a lot of hallucinations, both auditory and visual, and I would take her to the hospital because that's what you think you should do with your child who's sick. And the solution in the hospital was to handcuff her and put her in the back of a police car and then transport her to a hospital. So if you can imagine seeing your 12-year-old child who has done nothing wrong except be sick in handcuffs in the back of a police car. She doesn't understand. She's confused. We have experienced major stigma at that point from the emergency room physicians, from the police, just everybody. So, awful. Another law that we have in Wisconsin is if you want to get treatment for your child who has a mental illness, you have to sign your child over to the state, to the government. Your child has to become a ward of the government. Then you can get treatment for your child. If you don't sign them over to the state, you don't get treatment. So in the middle of her most incredible, well, everything, scared, hallucinations, she's confused, restrictions, fear of violence from herself or others. In the middle of all those things, I have to go to court and say to my daughter, I'm sorry, but I have to give you up now. I have to leave you. So awful. Again, stigma, experience. So there's the list goes on and on of injustices that I'm sure everybody has stories and knows people that have had stigmatizing events happen to them or people that they know. But when it's your family, when it's personal, it's very, very difficult. I felt like I was watching my child die slowly every day, and there was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't get her to a doctor. I couldn't make someone listen. I couldn't get the handcuffs off her. I couldn't get her out of the government's control. I mean, there were so many restrictions and so many things. So what happened was, after many years, we finally found a most wonderful physician. We found a very nice schizophrenia conference in Philadelphia, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that we started attending on a regular basis just to learn more information. I read every single book I could get a hold of, just every author on mental illness in general, schizophrenia in particularly, advocacy, just anything that I could read that I thought it might be useful to our family. Also, I need to add that Michelle has a brother. So during all this, her brother is 1 year older than her. So during all this, her brother, the three of us are going through this as a family. He's trying to make sense of this and understand. He's trying to protect her at school because people are starting to notice she's a little different and things are going on. So he had a lot of added responsibility as well because of the stigma at school that was experienced. So when Michelle was very sick, I ended up leaving my job because I needed to be with her all the time. And when I left my job, I didn't tell them why I left. So right there, I was experiencing stigma from myself because I didn't tell them I'm leaving because she has a mental illness and I have to be with her. I just quietly left. So there is some shame in my part in that I have gone back and fixed. And one of the things that we noticed was we just can't live in this cloud, this fog. It's unacceptable. She was not getting better, and I just thought there's got to be a better way to live your life. So as we got a doctor and as we started moving forward and trying different medications, we did find some medications that work. Michelle is so willing to try medications, to try new things. You know the law, try 5 and fail, and then go to the next one. And a lot of people will not do that. Michelle was willing to do that. So we did find some good medications. Then we started seeing some recovery. We had intensive in-home therapy 3 times a week for 2 years. And then our regular doctor's appointments, and then all the education that I was doing, I was bringing home to my family as well. So we started seeing recovery, and it's kind of low down there, but recovery is possible. And I'm not talking about, bam, you're cured. I'm talking about recovery, the process of that, being med compliant, going to your doctor's appointments, finding a way to learn to self-advocate, to be able to take care of yourself, because I can take care of my daughter for as long as I'm living. She needs to know how to take care of herself. Either way, if I'm here or not. Self-advocacy, not complete independence, self-advocacy. And that does include friends and community support. And however that is, we're working on that section too. Community support is still a difficult area. So what we did is we started speaking. We decided we were going to start public speaking. So we went to the high school, or is that how you started? The mental health summit. The summit? Okay. Yeah, you're right. We were invited to speak at a mental health conference.
Good keynote speakers.
Yep. And we went in, and we had an hour and a half, and we thought, what are we going to say for an hour and a half? But as we sat down and started writing things, well, it's quite easy to talk about a chunk of your life that's been very difficult. So we spoke there, and were asked to speak somewhere else, and it kind of started rolling. One of the things that we said during our speaking engagements was, I think you hear somebody speak, and then you leave the speech, and then you think about it in your mind a little bit, and maybe discuss it on the way home, and sometimes that's as far as it goes. And we were not satisfied with that. The reason we were speaking is not just to empower ourselves, but the reason we were speaking is to help eliminate stigma of mental health, okay? So if you look at education through dialogue, so if we're talking about mental health right now, we are doing something about it, period. We are doing something about it. So we developed this cute little guy who's on our pins, and the name of it, it's just a pin with a name. The name is EMIS. It stands for Eliminate Mental Illness Stigma. Nice and simple. So what you do is you take the pin, the EMIS pin, and you wear it on your, however you wear it, and it is goofy looking, and people are going to say, what is that pin? And you're going to say, oh, this is EMIS. It stands for Eliminate Mental Illness Stigma. Now you have begun a dialogue about mental illness. And you may say, this is EMIS, I heard some people speaking about it, and, that's it. And if you're comfortable only with that, fine. But if you're comfortable with more, yeah, we were at this conference, and it was really good, and we heard about this, and did you know? And you can have a dialogue. So we have, Michelle's going to give everybody one of these. We have our business card, and then we have a pin on the card, and then take an extra one, because when somebody asks you about it, what we're saying is tell them about it, and then give them your pin. And then they can give someone else your pin. We were in Canada speaking at a conference, and we walked down the street a few blocks and went into the restaurant, and our waitress was wearing an EMIS pin. And that was just the most wonderful thing. So, yeah, So right now, and then there's an email on the bottom. We would love for you to email us and tell us where EMIS ended up. Just let us know what happened to them. Because right now, EMIS is in 26 different countries, and we'd like to continue that and see where that goes. Any more EMIS information? We have a lot of stuff. Yeah, we so basically we went through the schizophrenia, the recovery possibilities, and then what came out of that was EMIS. That's why this is so large and obnoxious. It really gets your attention when you go by, and it did. And so we're hoping that you'll take the EMIS card, take several. We have a lot of them. We made very many. So take as many as you would like. If we need more, ask us. We have more. So give them to your friends and family and colleagues. And we have lots more, but you have to hear us come speak at a different place at a different time. So do you have questions? We'll take questions. No questions are you're inappropriate. We're very open-minded.
We'll let you know if it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that EMIS is a good ambassador to start the dialogue, so we have plenty of time to make a discussion.
Yes. Who thinks that the EMIS is a good idea, a worthwhile idea?
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So it's just to keep the dialogue going, even after today, after tomorrow. It's to keep the dialogue going.
Who had the idea?
Shelby and I.
Together.
Yeah, over a pizza, I think.
I was sitting at the kitchen table thinking, how are we going to have people remember us? And we had a couple of these fuzzy balls from crafts. And we're
That's
looking
what it
at them,
was.
like, what can we do with these fuzzy balls? And then we saw the eyeballs, like, wait a minute. And we just put them together, and like, this is great, it's awesome, and it works, and everybody likes it. So.
And EMIS is easy to remember. Eliminate mental illness stigma, kind
Oh,
of.
can I tell my version of it?
You can? Can you say that in
No, I
Japan? I don't
shouldn't.
know if you can say that here.
No, I want to hear it. Sorry.
Come on.
Well, I say eliminate mental illness stigma, and Michelle says.
Every mental illness sucks.
Yes, that's great. Yeah.
It's true. That's her version. Please, we'd love to answer some questions.
I think there are plenty of time after the presentation, so
Okay.
please distribute EMIS to everyone.
Okay.
And
Yes,
during
please.
that, we would like to prepare for the next speaker.
Okay, thank you.
I'm passing out like this.
Just walk around and they
Yeah,
can take.
thank you very much, Michelle. And,
Thank you.